Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah, and we're your guides through the delightfully dark corners of comfort horror.
I don't even remember what this story is about because it feels like I researched it like ages ago, but it probably was like 2 weeks ago.
No, you researched it ages ago, and then I kept being like, no, I can't. I'm too tired. I had to quit.
That's supposed to be my job. That's supposed to be my job where I'm like, maybe next week. I'm sleepy.
Using the sleepy. I have taken over the sleepy.
Well, I'm not like not sleepy.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I don't remember what I myself
had
researched.
taken it from you entirely. Instead,
that'd be so cool if we could just like pass it back and forth and be like, you take a turn.
Yeah.
You take a turn.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to our second episode in our Snowbound theme. It is still snowing here. It will not stop. But it is the time of year where it's kind of turned to like, is it going to be snow, sleet? Is it going to be raining? Is it going to turn to ice and slush? It's just messy.
The gross time of year. The grossest time of year.
It's gross. But this was a hardcore winter. Like we're back to the good old days where like, how about a snowstorm every week that is like mildly debilitating and threatens your safety
so much.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, it is like 80 degrees every day here in Houston. It is unseasonably warm.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, extreme weather. Extreme. That's a joke from last episode. In case extreme. I'm just totally extreme. What are we talking about? We are following up on our last week's episode. We record these all out of order, so we have to really orient ourselves to where in the world are we in the release
tell them,
schedule.
Ashley, I'm sure we seem super organized to them.
Yeah, we totally have it together. We know like what the date and time of year is. Like, yeah, we're totally with it.
We're fine.
But yeah, this is our follow-up to the Donner Party episode. So last week was the Donner Party. Today we're still talking about the Donner Pass, named after the Donner Party. We're going to be talking about how like a lot of other bad stuff kind of happened there. It's just like a really tough, snowy area. And then like a little sprinkle of haunting, because the whole point of this was for me to tell paranormal stories.
I love it. But I will say the Donner Party episode was really great. It really set some good groundwork for what I think we're going to talk about today. It'll be a little bit of a surprise for me too, listeners. So if you feel up to it, that is how I will describe it. I would recommend listening to our last episode if you haven't yet. But also respect if you choose to skip some of the more real life suffering cannibal references. Ashley does a fantastic job of bringing in really like great historical resources and telling the story in this like non-sensationalized way, but also respective. That's not your thing, and you're here more for the hauntings.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. This will hopefully have no more mentions of cannibalism after this disclaimer.
We're doing like a
we did.
Like a post
right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like any of these stories with hauntings, I forget that they end up having such a strong like human suffering angle, because that is so often what ends up with the paranormal occurrences later.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's not too bad. It's harrowing, much like the Donner Party, but a lot less tragic, I would say, from what I recall. But I, too, may be surprised because I don't really remember what I wrote. So let's kick it off. Okay. The first thing we're going to talk about is what is called the luxury train incident. So in the last episode, we were in the pioneer days of the 1800s. So in 1868, the Donner Pass was blasted through after 3 years of continuous labor, primarily completed by upwards of 12,000 workers, with most of them being Chinese laborers. I guess this was very common at the time to import Chinese laborers because they worked really hard, they had a lot of skill, and sadly they would work for lower pay. So ain't that the American way? So this isn't that far after. Last episode we were talking about the like horse and buggy days, and now we're like, blast a hole through it. We got our locomotives coming, folks. We're not going to go over the mountain. We're going to go through it. which seems really hard, and like it was. It was indeed very challenging. So yeah, like I said, 12,000 workers, like that feels like a lot.
It is. So this is so interesting. I was not prepared for this. My wonderful sister-in-law, Renee, she is an archaeologist who
Cool.
specializes in the Asian American immigrants from around this time who were like working on these railroads with other laborers. Like this is the
Oh my
type of
goodness.
archaeology she does. I
Wow.
should have read ahead here. I could have called her.
I
We
was
could have
gonna
an
say we should have had her phone
expert.
in.
Yes.
Totally. Okay, well, actually, this won't be the last train Chinese immigrant story that we cover. We'll have another one. So
Amazing.
the Husik Tunnel was actually like a lot of the tunnels at the time.
Oh,
Like I said, were worked on this way, with like the just what these people went through is so unbelievable. So yeah, we'll have to like get her get her in on this because
yeah,
I am not
obviously.
an expert. I am not
Also,
an
how cool is
expert.
it that I have a sister-in-law who's an archaeologist?
That
Just
is
wanna,
the coolest thing
yeah,
ever. I like immediately, of course, I think of like Indiana Jones. And I'm like,
obviously,
does
yes.
she wear a hat like that? I hope
No,
so,
but
at
she
least
is like
sometimes.
just, like cool like that,
Yeah,
She's very
she's definitely
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
She is cool.
Yeah.
That much I do know she's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Back to the
All right.
topic at hand.
Anyway, back to the trains. Okay. Maybe Chris will actually listen to this one. Chris, my husband, also cool, not a listener, but he loves trains. So shout out to Chris. Love you. Maybe you'll listen to this one and then hear me. He already knows that I rant and rave about it, but anywho.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we brought it up.
That's true. That's true. It's like every 3 episodes I
Yeah.
have to bitch about it because it still hasn't changed. Let's see what number episode we get to where I'm like, he's a fan now. He finally listened. I don't want to know the number actually. Okay. The completion of this project was part of the creation of what was called the Central Pacific Railroad at the time. And one of the most challenging aspects of the project was this project of like blasting literally through a mountain in the Donner Pass, just to remind everybody of what we're talking about here. It's a pretty intense project. So there was this one portion that was 1,659-foot tunnel, and it was just called Tunnel Number 6 or Summit Tunnel. Like we're not getting fancy here.
Yeah.
But Tunnel Number 6 kind of becomes infamous and is a little bit foreshadowing for our future upcoming haunted tunnels theme.
Mm.
A little drop there. I'm really excited about haunted tunnels, I guess. That excites me. These are the things that excite me. What really blows me away about this story is that it occurred in 1868. I already said it. Like, we're only about 40 years or so after the Donner Party was trudging through the snow, just dying out there, doing what they did if you listen to last week's episode. Like, that is so
Like
close.
20 years. 20
Did I say?
years.
Yeah, it says 20 years right in my notes.
Okay. Okay. I got you. That's why you have a
It
co-host
is
even when you do
Friday
all of the research.
evening. You know what? I actually listen to our episodes. Like I'm a fan, like, after you release them, because you send them to me before and then I never really end up having the time. And then I listen to them after because I just like trust that you're going to do a great job with the editing. And then I'll hear things and I'll be like, that was not right. And I'll know, obviously, like I know it's wrong and I'm saying the wrong thing, but I have like, you're like just talking, you just say the wrong thing and you
It
have
just
no idea that you've
happens.
said it.
Yeah.
Being human and then also not being dedicated enough to go back and say it again. I think we used to do that. I think I used to be like, I should say that line again. And now I'm like, it'll buff
Who
out.
cares?
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I welcome listeners dedicated enough to fact check us. You are welcome in our comment section.
You are welcome. Like I said, like we don't want anyone being mean to us, but you can be like, hey, so you just said this, and I think it's actually that. Like, did you mean that? Love you, bye.
Yeah.
Totally.
Would love to know that
We're
you
not. We
cared
don't
that
have like an
much.
ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let us know. So yeah, 20 years. There's my next note.
Also
20 years.
blows my mind. That
Yes.
is wild to me.
I don't know. Like I am reading this, and then I'm like, how? Like, was I wrong? I feel like I had to reread it and then like check myself and then fact check myself. And I'm like, 20 years? Like how? How is that possible that now we're like blasting a hole for the train to go through? But progress, baby. As you can imagine, though, despite the rapid progress occurring, I took the words right out of my mouth, occurring in the United States at the time, technology was still very limited. And also, like any sort of protection for the workers, particularly these immigrant workers, because of racism, was essentially nil. Like we were not
Mm.
trying to take care of these people, they were
Mhm.
being used for to get a job done and to get it done in the most cost effective way possible. So the workers also like they did not really have a life outside of this. Like they came here to work and probably were just sending money home to their families, I would presume, or saving it up for something else because they like lived and worked in the tunnels. They would work and then they would
Oh.
go off to like whatever little shelter they had and sleep
Mhm.
and then come back and work. And mind you, there was like this was still like a snow-covered mountain. They're just working all year round. They're not like, "Oh, it's winter, like we got to
And
go
their little shelters are
kitten up in
probably
our."
like tents up there.
It's like they would like kind of like dig little like holes in the snow, I think from what I
Oof.
read. I don't know if I'm remembering that exact part correctly, but I feel like it was not like a shelter. It was more just like a place where you could survive and sleep, you know?
That
And then there
seems
were also places
miserable.
where the tunnel had been, built enough
Mhm.
where some people could go. But this is like a lot of people, a lot of
Mhm.
people. Um and in addition to this, like it just like not being does not sound fun at all to me. We are people who do not enjoy working and would prefer
No.
not to. Like really are not embarrassed about that.
Mm-mm.
We would just be stay-at-home pet moms and
Be
moms to anyone
awesome.
else, friends, stay-at-home wives. I don't
Stay at
care.
home
I just want to stay at
people.
home. We just want to be a haunted homebody professionally. Okay. But in addition to that, just sounding terrible, the work itself was extremely hazardous, in large part to the use of nitroglycerin. So that is how they were like blasting their way through. And a lot of us are familiar with nitro. Like it's not a chill, well
No.
controlled thing. No. And this was also very new. I read in some sources that this was like the first, like possibly the first usage of it. They're like, hey, we've got this.
Interesting.
We've got this new thing and it's like super safe. Like, don't worry about it. It's going to be great. Like, do you think they were telling the
Mm.
truth? Do you think they were being
No.
honest? And we all know who they is, right? Like powerful men in charge. Yeah.
Just worried about making money.
Not
Probably
worried.
talking about how they were like increasing access with all of the new railroads, but all they cared about was the money they
Yes.
were going to make.
Everything for the women and the children. They're going to be
Mhm.
able to go get their hair done because it's like what the ladies want to do is like go get their hair done in California. Assholes.
We know the
Okay.
type.
So prior to nitro, and actually I think still during this project, it was usually something called black powder, and that was known to be extremely unstable. But like in the same in the same vein of what we were just talking about, like they were kind of suggesting that nitro was safe, and obviously, like in what world? Like it's an explosive. Like explosives are not safe. Like even
No.
now, like nobody's like handling a bomb and being like, this is just like a chill day. Like
No.
it's you can't like put those two words in the same sentence. That is completely oxymoronic. So, for additional context here, dynamite was created soon after. So dynamite is considered like the quote unquote stable version of
Oh,
nitroglycerin.
no.
Yeah. Like that's
Mm-mm.
it, stabilized. Like how
Mm-mm.
many shows and movies have we seen with people like holding the stick of dynamite, like trying to move it, and then like they explode and turn to dust.
Which
So
I assume is
yeah,
100% accurate.
totally.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything in movies are real, right? So because of the extensive use of black powder and nitroglycerin explosives, many workers obviously lost their lives while they were building these tunnels, just all in the name of progress. That's not, an unusual story. But it wasn't just the explosives that were killing them. Remember when I said this wasn't going to be that tragic? I guess
I
we're just like not getting
do.
specific like names and family members. But
Mm.
yeah, it's yeah,
Mm.
it's plenty tragic. Also said I didn't remember, so give me a break. Okay, so let's remember that this was an extremely snowy area, right? They are
Mhm,
packed
mhm.
in. There's snow everywhere. They were working year round. I already talked about them like making their little huts in the snow to try to get a little shelter, get a little rest. But then they were blasting. They were blasting. So snow, mountains, blasting. What do you think happens?
Avalanche.
So many avalanches were happening. And also, like, remember, this area at this time was known to accumulate like over 20 feet of snow per winter. Like,
Right.
like 20 feet. I don't even understand. Like, that's so many of you standing on top of each other. It's crazy.
That is more than
Here's our
3 of
math girl.
me.
Greater than 3.
More than 3. Significantly
You're
more
not
than 3.
quite
Almost
short
4
enough,
of me.
but me, it's like 3.
3 and some change.
So one such example. So okay. One such example of what were like literally mass casualties. Like, obviously with the explosive, it wasn't just like one person in the movies, like the one person carrying the stick of dynamite. It was like a massive explosion that either killed or injured many, many people. But there were like multiple avalanches that just claimed like a lot of lives, and then they would just like, okay, anyway, like keep working. But in one particular avalanche in March of 1867, it caught 50 Chinese workers and killed 49 of them.
Oh God.
Also, like, why did I not have more time? Because like I need to hear the story of the one man who survived. And like, is it a movie and can we talk about it? Maybe on a later date, but that is so many people. That's just unbelievably sad. And the fact that all of these events occurred, and like I said, they were just like, okay, back to work, like no acknowledgement, no like maybe we should be waiting till spring or till there isn't 20 feet of snow to be like blasting holes in the mountain. Because the blasts were causing the blasts were causing avalanches, but also like they were just occurring. Like that's just a thing that happens in nature, also in like a very snowy mountainous place. But you know, work continued on, and then by 1868 the railroad was mercifully completed after the sacrifice of many, many individuals. But the deaths in the area did not stop there. So I'm trying to remember, like, I started this this bullet point with the luxury train incident, and this is like how I work, because I'm like, hold on, I have to give the entire backstory. How did the trains come to be? I just scrolled down. I just scrolled down and I'm like, where is the train incident? We're still not there. Okay.
You're going to write a book someday. Many books.
I better, because like, if not, then why am I like this? At least this podcast gives me an outlet, because when we weren't podcasting, I was like, I learned all these things, and then like, where do I put it? Like, I have to put it somewhere.
Who do I tell? You can just tell me. You just call me.
I could just
tell me things. I mean, I like learning from you.
It kind of is what the podcast is, right?
It is.
We watch movies, and then I'm like, I want to talk to Sarah about that, and then we record it.
Great.
And then I like read a book, and I'm like, I want to tell Sarah about it.
I like it. It works for me.
Yeah, it's lots of fun. Okay, so the railroad is done. Thank goodness. And then, as I said, the deaths in the area did not stop there. So in 1908, 3 crew members attempted to repair damage to the rail near Donner Pass, and they were swept off the cliff and into Donner Lake, resulting in their deaths.
Oh, no.
Like, what? Like, that's another thing where I read, and I was like, how is this real? Like, you were on the side of a snowy mountain that you're already like, oh, this is Donner Pass. Like, you know, I mean, everyone's got to have the heebie-jeebies just knowing they're there. And you're looking down at the lake where all this gnarly history went on not long ago, mind you. Not long ago. Now we're what? 40 years? Like, what
I don't know where we are anymore.
1908. We're in 1908.
We're like 60 years past.
So we're like, the lore is like loring. Like, we all know what went on there. And then you're swept off the cliff in an avalanche and like plunged into the lake.
Yeah.
I don't even understand logistically how that was possible, but that is like straight out of a horror movie. So because of the extreme weather and the snowy snow in the Donner Pass, it remains a hazardous area to this day. And there have been like many, many more harrowing occurrences. I'm sure we're going to get to the luxury train incident by the end. But not yet.
We'll wrap it up. When we talk movies, we talk about the end first. But here, We do not.
I clearly just like forgot to delete that bullet point, but anywho, so by 1936, most had ditched the old horse-drawn wagons for cars, but these were also found to be like no match for Donner Pass, and a severe blizzard ended up trapping over 700 motorists, resulting in the death of 7. So this is just an area where it's like history is repeating itself over and over again. Like man is thinking like I can outdo nature, and then they're
Mhm.
just the snow is just overwhelming, and all of this like the cars, the trains, like obviously like the people on foot and with like oxen didn't have a chance, but then they
Yes.
probably thought, well, we have cars now, well, we have trains now, well, we went through the tunnel, it'll be fine. No, it's just like never never been fine there. um
I'm sorry to keep talking about the timeline, but my mind is
yeah.
blown right now. So we were talking about 90 years after the Donner Party. There are roads and enough cars that 700 motorists were trapped in this blizzard in
It's
this
so many.
place where almost no one lived 90 years prior. That
For
the
good reason.
For good reason, and also just like
Yeah.
the way that a
Oh.
particular group of people just took over this land is just
Uh-huh.
wild.
And they're like, let's do something great
Wild.
with it. Everything will be fine. Everything's going really
Ugh.
well here in 2026. So we're nailing it. We're nailing it.
Another 90 years later.
Oh, gosh. Also wild.
Still no
As we sit
high-speed
here.
trains, though.
That's kind of probably for the best. I'm scared.
Oh,
Scared of that
no, I
idea.
want
You
them.
want to do
I want
it?
the
You want
high-speed
to?
trains. They work so well in other places. It's
Yeah.
really energy efficient public transportation. We
Okay.
should do it.
All right.
I think they're pretty safe.
I don't
I haven't
know.
done my research here.
Yeah.
Obviously, the talking points have gotten to me.
I'm like, this has gotten to me, and I'm like, nothing's safe. Don't leave the house.
This may be our least on task podcast episode yet, and I am
Yeah.
very to blame for that. You may continue.
I don't know. I'm like not nailing it here. I'm like, my reading comprehension skills are being tested on a Friday evening. This is really hard. Okay, so the 700 motorists were trapped. 7 did not survive the event. Not a bad percentage when you consider 700 motorists, but still very tragic.
Mhm.
That's 7 too many. So most often during this time of year, the winter, snowy months. I wonder what I'm trying to say here. Hold on. Let's rather say. Okay. So during this time of year, the safest way was still considered to be like to get through the Donner Pass was still considered the train. So like we're still trying to go through the mountain. That makes sense, right?
Mhm.
Like the roads are gonna be like super dicey. There's only so much snow clearing you can do.
Right.
It's going to be probably really treacherous just for plows to try to get through there.
Mhm.
I know just from going to Tahoe in the winter months, like you had to have either all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or chains, or they don't let you
That's
through.
right. You like get to the certain sections in
Yeah,
there, and it's
and
like chains recommend or chains required.
required. They
Yeah.
stop you and they're like, you're not gonna make it. Like it's
Mhm.
still wild out there. So that's like
Mhm.
very, very close to that area. So it's not doing 20 feet of snow anymore, I don't think, but there's a plenty of snow. So where are we in the world? Okay, so we were in 1936 when the motorists were trapped, but just 1 month earlier, a westbound Pacific Limited train passed through a snow shed near the Donner Pass. While the train was going through, a 150-foot snow slide hit the side of the shed. So
Mm.
they're like going through the little, I think a snow shed
Yeah.
is just probably like a little like tunnely kind of thing, but like not
Sure.
as sturdy. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a trained architect or whatever, engineer. I don't know. Okay, moving on. So as the snow is hitting the side of the shed, the whole train jolted from the impact, and one of the cars was actually overturned and began to fill with
Ugh.
snow. It's like turned on its side. The snow is still coming, and it's like snowing, and like I think it was so the snow is coming, and then it was also like raining outside. So it's like rain is coming down from the from the sky, snow is coming from the mountain, and they're like on their side. Also in my mind, because I just like Hollywoodized everything, like they're hanging off the side of a cliff, like dangling by like a piece
Obviously,
of metal.
yes.
But I don't even need to embellish this
No,
that much
it's terrifying.
because all of the passengers somehow survived this ordeal. But I'm going to read you a few of like how narrow this escape was. So here's a brief account of the effort to rescue the trapped passengers as written in the article Trainwreck, the 1936 Pacific Limited, written by Gordon Richards for the Sierra Sun. Wow, how's that for reading comprehension? Okay, so all three suffered multiple injuries, including crushed chests and broken arms. Other injuries included deep gashes, back and spinal fractures, bruises, and cuts. Fireman Bill White worked like a demon and personally rescued many other trapped passengers. Sorry, this is all a quote, by the way, if I didn't make that clear at the beginning. Another was pulled to safety by hanging onto a blanket with his teeth while being pulled through sharp timbers and steel shards. End quote. How? How do you do that? Who has that kind of will to survive?
That is what I was just about to say. Like, I don't know. I don't think I do.
Pulled to safety by hanging onto a blanket with his teeth while being pulled through sharp timbers and steel shards.
I mean, you don't know until you're in that situation, and I hope never to find myself in that situation.
No, I don't know. I know my sister Courtney is listening right there, and she'd be like, nope. I would have just jumped off the cliff and been like, I don't want to deal with this stress anymore.
I mean, like, I also, like, for all of these people, I just think of, like, them living with this trauma for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Also.
Yes. Like, they survived, but it's like, at what cost? And like, do you just have this renewed like zest for life, and you just have this like great story to tell anyone who will listen, and you're just killing it, or are you like waking up in a hot sweat, like having nightmares?
I'm also
night?
probably in pain, like spinal fractures. You think they fully recovered from a spinal fracture in 1936?
Probably not. No, that's a really good point. Medical care was not great, and it's not easy to recover from that now.
No,
like, it's not like all of a sudden we have spinal issues figured out. No, that's very true. Okay, so the luxury train incident. Here we are. Here we are. So now we are in 1952, and a luxury train traveling in the area of the Donner Pass on the Central Pacific Highway was traveling highway. That can't be right. I'm like, trainway? I don't know. Railway, Central Pacific Railway. Yeah, I don't edit these notes. Traveling from Chicago to San Francisco had 226 passengers in tow. Also, that sounds like a really fun trip. Like Chicago to San Francisco in a train. It sounds like fun. It's not gonna sound like fun in a
luxury
minute.
train. Oh, we got to the luxury train. We got here. We did it.
We did it. Yeah, it sounds fun, but obviously, like that's not the kind of podcast we are. So it's about to get real not fun again for all of these people. So blizzard-like conditions, shocker, obstructed the ability of the train's conductor to assess the tracks ahead. He just couldn't see. We're getting like real Titanic-y in this story, with a less horrible ending. That one really was bad news, but this is very similar. It was just like rich people having a great time, being like, we're unstoppable. No.
Should we cover the Titanic at some point? I feel like maybe.
I'm gonna need like probably a good 2 years to prepare, but maybe I'll start.
All right, so we'll see you guys in 2028 for our episode on the Titanic.
Our underwater horrors theme. Okay. So the train conductor's zooming along. He can't see the track. So there's snow drifts that are clogging the train tracks, some as high as 12 feet. So they're literally just trying to like plow through 12 feet of snow on their train. Like, terrifying already, and he just can't really see. He's just trying his best out there. I don't know what the protocols were at this point for snow. It doesn't seem like they had many. They're just like, give it your best shot. So unsurprisingly, the train became wedged deeper and deeper into the snow until it just like simply could not continue. They just literally got stuck in a pile of snow. They were stranded just miles from the same place that the Donner Party made camp nearly now a century prior.
Of course they were. Yes, indeed.
Yep. I can't make this stuff up. I don't have to. I don't have to. The snow continued to fall, and it was now up to like the level of the windows. So they were completely encapsulated in some areas. Like the train was just like covered. They were just like in a tomb of snow, basically. So at first, like people were kind of just hmm, like what's going on? Why have we stopped? This will be fine. Like we'll work it out. We'll get moving here in a minute. So they weren't really worried. They also just assumed like help would arrive relatively quickly. But what we need to remember is like where they are and how
Yes.
extremely not easy this is to get to. Like cars can't really get there,
Right. This is
which
like
is
a
why they're on the train.
you get from point A to point B and there is nothing in between.
Yes. And like they're going on the quote unquote easiest, safest way
Mm-hmm.
to get there. And it's clearly, if it's that obstructed, then like the roads are obviously going to be terrible. So by the next day, there was no sign of rescue. The battery, steam, and water, like all of their engines were all just fizzling out and
Oh
dying.
no.
So they're cold, getting real
Mm-hmm.
chilly. They have no power, no heat. So it was starting to get to like the inside was starting to get to be the same temperature as the outside, which was about 22 degrees.
Mm.
Now that is very cold.
Yes, it
For anyone who's
is.
like, that's not that bad, like you're just sitting in like a snow tomb in the
Mm-hmm.
snow, just sitting there, like, what are you gonna do? So people were starting to be like, okay, this is like maybe kind of serious. So we need to start doing stuff. Like people are getting really cold. They're getting, and I don't know, this is just a bunch of, I don't know that they're all prissy. Like these are not the people in the Donner Party. These are not like
Right.
hardy,
They're
hardy pioneer
luxury
folk.
train passengers.
Yeah, like I don't know. They probably have like a light jacket, that's like really fashionable. So they were starting to like tear down the curtains. They were like wrapping themselves in like whatever fabric they could find as
Mm-hmm.
little makeshift blankets. They were like kind of tearing the train apart, like ripping the seats up, starting to make like small fires in the train. And then eventually, like they just had to start like walking back and forth in the train cars to stay warm because they
Yeah.
were all like otherwise would just freeze to death in
Yeah.
there. Um, and that can happen really quickly. Like it takes a while to die from starvation, as we learned with the Donner Party episode. And just like kind of, I feel like a lot of us just know that it's like you get hungry really fast,
Yeah.
but you don't starve very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But you can freeze to death within like minutes with the right conditions.
Yeah.
Like hypothermia is no joke. So they're walking around and they really don't know. Like, there's no communication at this point. They don't know, like, is help 15 minutes away? Is it like 15 days away? Like, are we
Mm-hmm.
going to be the next Donner Party? Like, we're right there. Like, what's going to happen? So they started trying to like ration what food they had, but like within days, they were like pretty much out of food. So they're like, what do we do now? So some passengers were like starting to freak out. They're like, we just have to get out of here. And they're like trying to like crawl out the windows. And
Oof.
luckily, people were like, our best shot is to stay in the train. Like that is where rescue will come. Like you literally have nowhere to go. Like it's like feet of snow on a mountain. Like you won't
And I
survive.
would say here, people definitely knew they didn't arrive. People definitely knew they left somewhere, they didn't arrive, and there's only
Yes,
one path on which they can be. This is not getting
exactly.
lost wandering into the woods.
It's true. It's true. Like help will be arriving. Like it may like people are probably already trying to get to them at this point,
Yeah.
but it's like so but if you go out and then
Yeah.
nobody would have survived that. So
Mm-mm.
it is good that they were all like people stepped up and were like, this is a really bad idea. You're just panicking.
Yeah.
Like, let's go for a
Good.
walk, Susan. Like,
Yes.
we gotta
Inside,
calm
an
down.
inside walk.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, as you just alluded to, the Southern Pacific Rail Company had sent a rescue train with food and supplies, but it got derailed. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I am just like so giddy where I just have an idea for a story and I'm like, I don't really know what this is going to become. This one became like originally I just was like, I bet the Donner Pass is haunted. That was the original idea. So then it turned into me researching and reading an entire book about the Donner Party.
Of
And then
course.
being like, okay, so what actually, so it's haunted because of that. And then like, what else? And then all this other stuff. Like, Sarah, just wait till I tell you what happens next. So the train can't get to them and they're like, what do we do? they were rescued by people on dog sleds.
I love it so much. I love it.
Oh my
Do you
god,
remember
it's
when we went dog sledding?
yes, it was, like, one of the best days of my life, except for then I, like, got really cold after, and, like, my earring froze to my ear and
I
it really
remember
hurt.
that. I, like, specifically
Specifically
remember your
remember
earring
that.
freezing to your ear.
It really hurt, it really
Yeah.
hurt.
But it
But
was
the
so
dogs were
cute.
it was so fun before that, yeah, it was
Yes.
so great. So, the hero of our story today, Sarah, was a Samoyed named Rex,
No.
AKA Rex the Blizzard King.
I love him already.
I know. So he was a rescue dog. Like this was his job. He was a working man, and he had worked on like I guess in this area too. There's like a whole bunch of plane crashes. So he would go
Mm.
out to like where the plane crashes were with his supplies, and he would give people and rescue them and bring them home with whatever random human was with him.
I love this.
Rex was just doing his thing. So Rex the Blizzard King got the team close enough to dig a 1,000-foot trench in order to pull the train's passengers
Oh
to
my
safety. Like
God.
that's as close as they could get. Like from the road, they had to like dig this little tunnel basically to then like have lead them
Wow.
out. All passengers did end up surviving, in large part because of Rex the Blizzard King, as well as a human hero. So we have to give some credit to this man named Walter H.L. Roll. He was a passenger on the train who was, luckily for the passengers, also a doctor.
Oh,
And
good.
he was just running around, like from train car to train car, just treating people. There also were several cases that he had to triage of carbon monoxide poisoning, which often happens in these cases because people had found like these portable propane heaters and were just,
Mm.
when you do that kind of thing inside,
Not a good
you
idea. You gotta
die.
you gotta
Yeah, so
vent. Ventilation, very
yes,
important.
ventilation, PSA.
Mhm.
PSA, none of these kind of like open flame heaters, no grilling inside. No, we need
Mm-mm.
to ventilate
Mm-mm.
everybody. So sweet Dr. Roll and his wife, they were just happened to be on this train. This was their first vacation together in 15
No.
years. And they just like were like, oh, we should go on this train ride together. And then like instead of having this romantic time, he just was like, well, I was here and I just saved everybody. I kept everyone alive. Like people would have died if he wasn't
That's the
there.
type of thing though that
So
like he probably looked back on for the rest of his life and it's like that's why I took that vacation. The universe told
yeah.
me I had to take that
I
vacation.
know, I know. I believe in that too. I really do. And I just know. I just know I've know nothing about her, but I just feel like his wife is just a doll. I feel like she's so sweet,
Yeah,
you know?
yes, to deserve that man, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay. So despite what seemed like we were able to avoid an extreme tragedy here, there was actually loss of life, not from the people on the train, but from two people in the rescue
Oh
effort, which is
no.
so sad. So I want to mention them by name because I know I've mentioned just so many people dying and a lot of them I just don't know who they were, but like I think it's important to try to shed light on these people who are like truly heroic and trying to help and ended up losing their lives to do so. So the first was Roland Roly Raymond. I love that
Oh.
name. It's so good. Roly Raymond, who died driving his snowplow and it like flipped over. I think it was like one of those small ones because it like flipped over on
Mhm.
top of him. It wasn't like the snowplow that we're thinking
Yeah.
of.
Mhm.
It was just one of those smaller type ones. So that is awful. Like this is just like treacherous snowy rescue. It's just ridiculous. It wasn't just like they drove up and were like, okay, come on guys, here's some gas. And the second was a man named Pershing J. Gold. He was 33 years old and he actually died of a heart attack while like he was attempting to bring
Oh
food
my
there. It was just like
gosh.
I know he had like a heart condition and it was just like too much like stress and effort. So it was really sad.
No.
But I think he knew from what I didn't write it down, but I feel like I remember he knew and he like still was like going out there and like helping anyway, like knowing the
Aw.
risk. So two heroes. So after all these people they escaped this ordeal. They were brought to this nearby lodge called the Nyack Ski Lodge. So they all like sounds like kind of gets cute and cozy here again. They just like warmed up by the fire. They got their refreshments, but then they like, still had to like get back on a train. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like it's like you can't like drive out of
Mm-mm.
here. So luckily there was this place, but yeah, then they just had to like get back on a train and like go into the snowy mountains. But this train had sleeper cars, so um, yeah, they were really having a good snooze, I bet, that night after their narrow escape, giving me like Titanic vibes.
I mean, it really does, though.
Yeah.
Just like smaller scale,
Right, like
less
man thinking it
death.
has this new fancy technology and thinking they're invincible and going
Mhm.
like vroom vroom with our technology and there's like crash bang, we're not
When
invincible, go
was the
figure.
Titanic? What's the Titanic
I
was,
did look
like,
it up.
before this, like, significantly before this.
I did look it up, and I didn't write it down.
It feels unimportant. I feel like I'm gonna cut this section.
Yeah. I got a little like, what are we talking about?
But
Can
for
I
our
read?
own knowledge, 1912. It's like
Yes,
40
okay.
years before. Yeah.
Yeah. We did not learn.
No.
We did not
I
learn. We never
mean, we
learned. We still have
never
not learned.
do.
The rich people in the submarine just blew up the
I
other
was
day
just
or
remembering.
whatever happened. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So the hauntings.
What we're really here for. No,
This is
we're equally
so
here for the
funny.
history.
I know we love the history. I always end up like going so far into the history because that it sets up and gives it, like you said, this like depth to the hauntings. But it's gonna be really funny that we've done like I don't know 2+ hours of recording. That's gonna be like 10 minutes of haunting, but it's fun. It's just like a little
Yeah.
sprinkle on top of the Sunday. So
We even got a little sprinkle of cozy just a moment ago.
I
So
know there was. I
you're
always find some
welcome,
cozy.
listeners.
We always find some cozy. We gotta get it in there. So at this point, like no one's surprised that this area is haunted, right? Is anyone
Yeah.
questioning this? Even if you don't believe in ghosts, you're like, yeah, the Donner Pass is haunted. Like Donner Lake is haunted. Like of course.
Duh.
So first, what's kind of fun is that you can still explore some of the tunnels. It's technically private property, I think like government owned. So they're
Hmm.
kind of like, I don't know if I call it private property. I feel like maybe I wrote it down. Okay, yes. So Atlas Obscura did say it's located on private property, so that you want to keep that in mind and be like respectful. But it seems like people frequently go there and
Hmm.
they kind of just like allow the exploration. It's not like a safety issue really, so they just allow people to walk around and it seems like plenty of people do it and it's kind of just a thing. But
Interesting.
things change, and so just always do your own diligence with this kind of stuff. So tunnel 6, number 6, which we mentioned earlier, was abandoned from use in 1993. So we did all that, all those people died, we went through everything, and they're just like, yeah, it's not really
Don't need
working
any
out.
more thanks.
Not really working out. um so obviously, like we know, like going through any sort of tunnel, like a lot of people have like just experienced like tunnels are creepy. Like I don't know that there's
Mhm.
many people who even just driving through like a regular tunnel, like they're really creepy. So we've already have that kind of like spooky, haunted, dripping water, dark
It's
shadows.
kind of
Like
like we're not supposed to be there, right? Like we literally had to explode it open.
that's the other thing. So literally in the tunnels, you can see like the blast marks. Like you can see
Yeah.
where like the explosions rock. It's not like a smooth
Mm-mm.
surface. So it's like that history is just staring you in the face of like all of the suffering and death that went on to create this. And in Tunnel 6, visitors have reported hearing loud banging noises. There's been reports of light anomalies and then also like whispered voices.
Creepy.
Creepy,
Oh my
creepy,
gosh, I can't
creepy.
wait until we get to our tunnel theme and we get to tell our own tunnel story. It's
I
just like
know.
really front of mind right now.
Oh, and then like months away, but so
Yeah, it would be
exciting.
great though.
We are not organized, but we are prepared months in advance. We have lots of ideas, lots of ideas. So also visitors of Donner Memorial State Park. This is kind of like modern day. What they've done with the space is it's still named Donner everything, but
Mhm.
they have some memorials and historical things, and it seems like a pretty fun place to explore. So the memorial park spans Donner Lake and like kind of the area around where they were all camped. I'm not like
Mhm.
going to go into any of those details because if you want to hear them and you haven't listened to the last episode, go back there. There's plenty of details. So obviously like around the lake is kind of the hub the hub of the hauntings. A lot of stuff went down there.
Mhm.
And also just like a lot of people aren't exploring the Donner Pass. Like we're not like climbing over. We're exploring the tunnels a little bit, but we're not like climbing over the mountain
Well,
like a
yeah,
whole
because we've
lot.
been harbinged.
Yeah, we've been harbinged, and like also like we just have free will and like don't need to climb over 20 feet of snow.
No,
Like there's
it's
other times of year.
yeah,
And there's
yeah.
not that much snow, but yeah, it's just not like I don't think it's a great hiking location or anything. But I mean, who knows? People probably they all go through all through these tunnels and all around the lake, so I could be totally wrong. Maybe people are not harbinged and they're hanging out there all the time.
Mm. Mm.
Um Yeah, that's so funny that I just said that. I am, like, off my freaking rocker. I'm literally in a rocking chair. I'm off my rocker because then it just says next, around the area of the Donner Pass, people have noted. I'm like, people don't really, like, hang out around Donner Pass. I guess I'm kind of talking about, like, the base of it, but
Yeah.
okay. So here's just some of the hauntings. They've been reported feeling like they are being watched. They smell campfires and there's nobody
Mm.
around. They hear like the visitors themselves actually seem like they're getting a little like emotional overwhelm, not just from like the events, but like people will just like burst out crying and like
Ooh.
they have like no connection to the area. They're just like all of a sudden just like really upset about something. So that's kind of like the fringe, like spooky paranormal, but then there's like the literal ghosts. So
Okay.
we have our first ghost I will introduce you to, who is the Whiskered Man.
Such a great
Um,
word, whiskered.
yeah. And I said that I will introduce you to him, and that is it, because that is all that I wrote. He he exists. Obviously, because then I got distracted because the most prominent ghost, you will be not surprised by this one because you were there with me as I blabbed on about her during our last episode, is none other than Tamsin Donner. Our girl
Tamsin, you're
Tamsin!
back.
We gotta go and just see if we
I
can
want to
get a
meet
Tamsin sighting and be like,
Tamsin.
I'm a really big fan of your work. You
Yeah.
are awesome and we love you. So yeah, obviously, I'm a big fan. And you wonder, like, how do they know it's Tamsin? Like, she's not just like, I am
Good
Tamsin. And then, of
point.
course, there's like mediums being like, they can talk or whatever, like, whatever you believe. There's lots of variability in terms of like paranormal lore and everything. Um, but I guess it just like, there's so many people describing like the same exact look and outfit. And it's just like when the same people are saying like the same thing over and over and over again, and it's like describing this specific person who like potentially was brutally murdered and then eaten there, then I guess they just
Yeah.
kind of like assume, like it seems like safe to
I
assume.
accept
Like there were a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
other pioneer women there, but like she definitely I think had like a more distinct like kind of look to her.
Sure.
So it seems like pretty well accepted. And also then things just become lore and like I just, like you said, accept it and believe it. And I want
100%.
it to be her because I love her. But I hope she's like also like at peace. So
Yeah. She's just like
there's that.
hanging out there, but not like
Yeah.
tortured for eternity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, and it wasn't like that kind of like wailing woman kind of thing.
Good.
I just had this feeling that it's more of like she's still like looking after her husband or something. Like she's still like looking after
Oh,
people. Like she was
yeah.
just always looking after people. It feels
Yeah.
very like a caretaking ghost energy to me.
Gotta meet
Um
her.
s-
Gotta meet her.
I know. Love her. Love her. I also came across one very strange tale, which is I don't even know. This is definitely like paranormal, but I don't really know what to call it, so I'll just tell you what it is. So there was a researcher named Dr. Michael Newton. He hypnotized a woman, and she did not just regress to her childhood, but instead told him that she was Patty Reed and she was 8 years old and was like describing all of the suffering and like this harrowing event she went through.
Ooh.
Yeah, Patty Reed was 8 years old and was like a Donner Party survivor. Like
Mm.
she made it through the events. So, this woman's like telling all these details. She said when he asked her like who saved you, she said she was saved by a quote Frenchman. And when asked who was responsible for the Donner Party disaster, she said one word: Hastings.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
tracks.
Again, if you have listened to the Donner Party episode, you're like, Ain't that the truth? So a note for anyone who hasn't, Hastings is the name of this man, Lansford Hastings. He wrote this book. He was like a travel blogger kind of adventure guy of the day. And he was like, go on this little shortcut, it'll be fine. And basically was completely wrong. It was not a shortcut. It set
He
them
had
up
never
for
been on
the
it
disaster.
before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Important note. He just looked at a
Mhm.
map and was like, that might be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he set them up for disaster. Just a lot of male arrogance was what went on in this story. So the woman was then brought out of her hypnotic state, and she was like kind of told what happened, and she's like, what's the Donner Party? Like, what do you mean?
Oh,
Yeah. And like, so who knows? This could all be like completely orchestrated, completely bullshit, but like, what if it's not? Like, that is so
right.
wild. Like, she just wakes up and she's like, I've never heard of the Donner Party. Like, what are you talking about? Like, who's Patty Reed?
Fascinating.
So, like the paranormal theory would be that, like, I guess either the leading theory would be that this was like a past life regression that happened, that she was Patty Reed in a past life, and then most of us just don't
Oh,
know
but
who
the
we were in a past life, but
hypnosis.
it brought her back to this experience, and yeah,
Okay.
super, super fascinating. And lastly, there's one other ghost that is said to haunt the area surrounding Donner
You're
Pass.
smiling about this ghost, and we already talked about Tamsin.
I know. It is Rex the Blizzard King.
Oh, see, I just feel like when animals are haunting, they're just like just living an extended life
They're
there.
just having like he like probably loved his life. Like, I feel like he loved his work. He
Yeah.
loved his
He
life.
loves
He
the
loved being in the
snow.
snow.
Yeah.
Yes. So Rex the Blizzard King, our sweet rescue snow dog, he still makes appearances mostly when the snow starts to fall, and
Mm.
he's just like seen barking and roaming around. And I guess he had some like haunts in Truckee, California, and so he just like kind of, his little ghosty shows up there when it
That's so
snows.
cute.
That's so cute. And that's it. Finally, we did it. We got through my research on the Donner Pass.
You're amazing. That's fantastic.
Ugh, what a story, huh?
It was
I'm
quite
punching
a
it.
story. I love the
I know.
hauntings, and I loved all of the context to get
Thank
there.
you. Thank you.
Important.
You are my biggest fan.
I
when it
am.
comes
It's
to this
very
stuff,
true.
So it works out. But we hope that everyone else out there enjoyed it as well. And then next week we are continuing on our Snowbound theme, but we're getting back to movies. So Sarah, I'm like, you're my biggest fan. I'm like, who are you, ma'am? What did I call you? Did I call you Tara before? I combined like Sam and Tara. No, I called Sam and Tara Sarah during our Scream
yes, during our
episode.
yes. Mhm. It was a great combo
I'm
name.
fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. So Sarah, or whoever you may be, why don't you tell us what we will be chatting about next week?
We are going to be continuing our Snowbound theme, and also head into a little mini sub theme. We're going to have a Stephen King double feature starting next week, chatting all about the 1980 cozy horror classic, The Shining, which will probably be the scariest movie we've watched for the podcast so far.
Is it cozy? I don't even know
It will,
anymore.
it
I
will
don't
be
remember.
a topic of discussion.
We will go there. Like, arguing that Stephen King is cozy is a stretch, but we're gonna try to do it not once but twice.
But I feel like
we'll
there's
see.
so many people out there that like identify Stephen King with cozy.
For sure. Like,
Just
not
not
all of
us.
his work, but
Yeah.
a lot of his work. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we'll talk to you next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.